Very good, very good. Yeah. So now, good evening once again. Good evening to everybody. Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, shubhodayam, vanakkam. And it is the guest webinar. The keynote speaker is Subhan Bande, and the pronunciation is Bande, Subhan Bande. Then he's from Kadapa. He's a practicing advocate. The specialty of the our sir is UGC net qualified, that is law, and he studied law in the local Yogi Vemana University and the masters from the Acharya Nagarjuna University, Guntur, and a qualified UGC NET in law and AP SLET in law, and he did his Bachelor of Laws LLB. After that, UGC NET management also he did it. Then he is a Master of Business Administration through Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad, and is a qualified UGC NET in that also. So two UGC NET qualified person we are with her. So we should be very much fortunate enough to hear him. And he is a practicing advocate, and he's enrolled in 2014, and the professional skills as concerned, he's a practice both the civil as well as the criminal side. Both the side he is practicing. And when the subjects are taught, is so many subjects he taught it, like law of crimes, law of evidence, code of civil procedure, family law, both the Hindu law and Muslim law of contracts, law of transfer of property, law on negotiable instrument, law of torts and consumer protection, law of specific relief, labor and industrial laws, law of registration, law of limitation, law of intellectual property right, rent control law, AP and TS, that is the Telangana State, also a Right to Information Act, that which he is going to deal today in a depth manner, and the last not the least, human rights also there. And Subhan Legal World, he's and I have shared his YouTube also here because he has produced so many YouTubes over there, and the viewers are so many. If I see in the count, is 19 lakhs subscribers are there. Regarding the minutes are concerned, okay, 117,552 plus. That is total viewed people are up to the 18th is given over there, and the reviewers is target international journal business research and development. The other reviewers are search videos, membership and the fellows, International Economic Development Research Center, IEDRC Hong Kong. And the next is the point is International Association of the Academician of and Researchers, Asia Pacific region Singapore, International Association of the Computer Science and Information Technology, ISCSIT Singapore, member over there, and guest lectures. He has given the various places in various subjects like the Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act, and CPC, Limitation Act, Transfer of Property Act, Registration Act, Marriage and Divorce laws, succession laws, and Hindus and Muslims laws, also Hindu, I mean, say human rights and law of contracts and specific relief, a right to information act today that he is going to deal in depth, essential skill for the junior advocate also, rights and remedy redressal, the basic law of layman should know about him, the procedural aspect of the civil courts, etc. These are the various education institutions he taught, and he also taught the APP and JCJ aspirants also. In the community service also he did it. Legal literacy camps is organized on behalf of the District Legal Service Authority cell, Kadapa, imparting the legal knowledge to all the using PowerPoint presentation and slides, as well as the loading the YouTube for the legal fraternity, including the academicians and lecturers also. That is Bande Bush, Subhan Bande, and his slide share is there, SlideShare.net, oblique Bande Subhan, coordinated the awareness program on importance of the right to vote, Kadapa district of Andhra Pradesh. Publications are many. The number of publications are 4. The presentation in the conference seminar paper are 15. Number of workshops attended is 3. Number of faculty development program attended is 02. That is a 2. Number of webinar attended is 97. This is in short regarding our key speaker Subhan Bande, who is a practicing advocate at the Kadapa. With this, I would like to give the introduction here. But before I could start our session, let we, as India is a traditional country, and let we make our beginning with the Janagamana, that is a national anthem. So when it is going on, please stand up so that we could hear it, a national anthem. Yes. Now I will start it, and please. जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा
चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind.
Yes, let me close it. Then we'll begin our things. Yes, with this we will start our things. Then I will switch over my things to our keynote speaker. I'm sure that he is very much present. The keynote speaker, sir. Do you want to share anything, sir? Shall I? Or you want to speak? Please let me hear from you.
No, sir, I don't want to. Yes, sir, I don't want to share any people.
Okay, okay. Then yes, then I will turn over to the professor or Dr. Subhan Bande sir. And sir, you are welcome again. Once again, the participants are joining one after another. Because without wasting time, that I would like to say that I'm switch over to the Subhan Bande sir. Please continue, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. The Right to Information Act 2005. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes. Please continue, sir. Please continue.
Okay. The Right to Information Act 2005 was enacted by Government of India. Recently, the Government of India has amended through Act number 24 of 2009 on August
mute.
2019.
Yes, proceed, sir. Proceed.
Yes, sir. I have already uploaded my video lecture on Right to Information Act, but in today's lecture, I would like to focus on the areas which I have not touched in my video lecture on, which is available on YouTube. Democracy thrives on the transparency, not on secrecy. It is the fundamental principle on which basis the new enactment Right to Information Act 2005 was enacted by Government of India. Thomas Jefferson said that information is the currency of democracy. Hello?
Yes, please proceed, sir.
The genesis of Right to Information Act 2005 was the concept first initiated by the apex court of our biggest democracy, that is the Supreme Court of India, in Kulwal versus Jaipur Municipal Corporation case. In this case, the apex court directed that freedom of speech and expression clearly implies the right to information. It says that the freedom of speech and expression is a the right to information is a part and parcel of right to freedom of speech and expression. From the initiative taken by the Supreme Court of India in Kulwal versus Jaipur Municipal Corporation, Government of India decided to enact an enactment and finally made this enactment Right to Information Act in the year 2000, in the year 2005. There are four important broad objectives for the Right to Information Act. They are to empower the citizens, to promote the transparency and accountability, and to curtail the corruption, and to enhance the people's participation in democratic process. These are the four broad objectives. On the basis of these four objectives, India has enacted the law called Right to Information Act 2005. The Right to Information Act 2005 is broadly classified into four heads. This is the classification made by me for easy understanding of the bare act of RTI 2005. The first part is related to the preliminary provisions. Section 1 and 2 are related to this class. The second class is related to right to information and obligations of the public authorities. Sections 3 to 11 are enumerated under this category. The third class is information commissions. Sections 15 to 17, 12 to 14, section 18, section 19 and 20 are related to this third category. And the fourth class is related to the miscellaneous provisions which are enumerated from sections 21 to 31 of the Act. Along with these four major classes, there are certain exceptions to right to information. They are listed under three sections and a schedule. Section 8, Section 9 and Section 24 read with Schedule 2 are purely related to exceptions to Right to Information Act. Right to information. Dear friends, there are major important concepts which are defined under preliminary provisions, especially under Section 2. Before going to discuss the definition part or the preliminary provisions part of Right to Information Act, it is better to know about what are the recent amendments made to the Act Right to Information. This is the recent amendment made to the Right to Information Act 2005. According to this amendment, certain changes were made to the Right to Information Act, the existing Right to Information Act. Coming to Section 13. Section 13 is one of the important sections which is related to the appointment, services, etc. of Central Information Commission. Before this amendment, the tenure and service of information commissioners, including the Chief Information Commissioner, Central Information Commissioners, is purely on par with the Election Commission of India. Now, through this 2019 amendment, Government of India is not treating the Central Chief Information Commissioner and other central commissioners as on par with the Election Commissioner of India. Now the tenure is the fixed one. Before the amendment, the tenure of the Chief Information Commissioner and other information commissioners is 5 years for 65 years, whichever is earlier. Now through this amendment, the tenure of the Chief Information Commissioner and other commissioners is decided by the central government. These are the major modifications made to this one. Hence, this amendment is a dilution to the existing RTA Act 2005. And this is my personal opinion, friends. Friends, broadly speaking, there are four classes or all the sections of Right to Information Act can be categorized into four broad classes. The first class is related to preliminary provisions. The major important concepts which we need to study under the preliminary provisions are what is public authority and what is information and what is right to information. Friends, my PPT is available in LinkedIn as well as SlideShare, as well as in SlideShare. You can go through that one. You can get that how the Government of India has defined the word information, right to information, public authority, and some other words in the enactment. I don't want to focus on those aspects Why? Because I have already discussed those in my video lecture, which is available on YouTube. Coming to the overview of this act, after studying the basic concepts in class 1, that is preliminary provisions, we need to focus on the second and most important part, that is right to information and obligation of public authorities. Under this class, first we need to study section 3 of Right to Information Act, which says about what is right to information. Then you need to study section 6 of Right to Information Act, which says about request for obtaining the information. Then you have to study section 10 of Right to Information Act, first section 3, then section 6, then section 10. The section 10 says about the doctrine of severability. According to this doctrine of severability, if an applicant files an application seeking the information under Right to Information Act, if the information comprises of the exempted information and the non-exempted information, then the public information officer has to furnish the information which is not exempted under Right to Information Act 2005. In simple words, according to doctrine of severability, if an applicant wants the certain information, if a part of the information is prohibited by the Right to Information Act itself, then on the basis of only that part, the public information officer cannot reject the entire application as a whole. This is the meaning of the doctrine of severability enumerated under section 10 of the Act. After section 10, we need to study section 11 of the Right to Information Act, which says about the third party information. After studying section 11, we need to go to section 7 of Right to Information Act, which is related to disposal of the request made by an applicant under Right to Information Act 2005. After section 3, 6, 10, 11 and 7, then again we need to come back to section 5, which is related to the designation of public information officers. Then we need to study section 4, which is purely related to the obligations fixed on the public authorities. This is category 2. This kind of category is made by me for the convenience of easy understanding of the total enactment. The third part is related to the information commissions, the third class. First, we need to study sections 15 to 17, which speak about the State Information Commission. Then we need to study section 12 to 14, which are related to the Central Information Commission. After this, we need to go through section 14 of Right to Information Act. Sir, am I audible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible to us.
Then we need to go to section 18, which says about the powers and functions of the commission. Then section 19 and 20 are related to the appeals and penalties part. The miscellaneous provisions is the fourth class made by me for easy understanding of the entire Act of Right to Information Act 2005. It includes sections 21 to 31, but we need to focus more and more on section 22, 23 and 31. Section 22 speaks about the overriding effect of Right to Information Act. It says that whenever there is a conflict between Right to Information Act and any other special enactments made by the Government of India, then the rules prescribed under the Right to Information Act prevail over the other rules and regulations fixed in the other enactments. This is the importance of overriding effect. Very expressively, the Right to Information Act 2005 says that the Right to Information Act 2005 is superior over the Official Secrets Act. It is expressly described under Section 22 of Right to Information Act. Section 23 of Right to Information Act is related to bar of jurisdiction of the courts. Filing of an application under Right to Information Act, challenging the same before the first appellate authority, again challenging the decision of first appellate authority before the second appellate authority, and ultimately challenging the decision before the constitutional courts, especially the high courts and supreme courts, is fully barred under Section 23. This is the procedure prescribed under Right to Information Act. No civil court should interfere in the matters related to Right to Information Act if a public information officer fails to provide any information to the applicant who files an application under Right to Information Act. Should provide the information subject to certain exceptions provided under Section 8, 9 and 24 of the Act. If he is aggrieved by the decision given by the public information officer, certainly the aggrieved person cannot challenge the same before a civil court or a criminal court. Section 23 says that there is a clear bar of jurisdiction of all the civil and criminal courts. If you are dissatisfied with the information provided by the public information officer, then you need to go to the first appellate authority. Still you are dissatisfied with the decision of the first appellate authority, you should go to the second appellate authority. Still you have some dissatisfaction, you need to go to the constitutional courts to get the appropriate remedy. This is the procedure prescribed under Right to Information Act. As such, all the civil courts and criminal courts cannot entertain the cases related to Right to Information Act 2005. It is one of the most important sections under Right to Information Act. Section 31 says that before the enactment of Right to Information Act 2005, there is an enactment called the Freedom of Information Act 2002. It has narrow scope when compared to this Right to Information Act 2005. As a result, under Section 31 of Right to Information Act, the Freedom of Information Act 2002 is completely repealed. It is enumerated under Section 31. These are the important sections. This is the way we need to study the entire bare act of Right to Information Act 2005. Friends, the exceptions related to Right to Information are enumerated under Section 8, 9 and 24. Let us have a look on these three sections. Section 8 says that there are certain exceptions for disclosure of information. If such information is related to any one of these 5 issues, then the public information officer cannot provide you any information under Right to Information Act. The exceptions listed under the Section 8 or if the information is related to the sovereignty and integrity of India, then he cannot give you the full information. If the information is related to breach of privilege of the parliament or state assemblies, then he cannot give you the information. The public information officer cannot give you the information. He uses this exemption. If the information is prevented by the court, if a person files a suit before the court, and if he gets an injunction order from the court, at those circumstances, dissemination of information is prevented by a court order. Under those circumstances, the public information officer cannot furnishes you the information. The third one is, if the information is related to a trade secret or intellectual property, he cannot provide you the information related to such trade secret or intellectual property. If you ask any information related to that is the trade secret of KFC chicken, what are the ingredients and what is the procedure to make a KFC chicken? If you want to get this information from a food inspector or a person who is competent to give such information, he cannot provide you such information because of the bar enumerated under Section 8 of the Right to Information Act. Simply, he can reject your application by stating the reasons that it is a trade secret. I cannot reveal you. Then the fiduciary relationship. If the information is related to purely the employer and employee, under those circumstances, the employer cannot provide you the information. Friends, I will quote the appropriate case laws at the appropriate time, especially in the interactive session. I will quote the appropriate case law related to the concept of fiduciary relationship. The next one is, information received in confidence from the foreign government cannot be revealed to the applicant who files an application under Right to Information Act 2005. And the information related to life and physical safety of any person cannot be provided by the public information officer at any cost. The issues under the investigation, and an investigation is going on, it is not completed yet. Under these circumstances, he cannot, the public information officer cannot furnish you the information related to the issues under investigation, a pending investigation. The cabinet papers of the ministers cannot be revealed through Right to Information Act, and the information which is in the condition of invasion in privacy of the parties cannot be revealed under Right to Information Act. These are the things exempted under Section 8 of Right to Information Act. Section 9 speaks about the grounds for rejection to access the information. Along with Section 8 of Right to Information Act, the Central Public Information Officer or the State Public Information Officer may reject the request of the information on the ground that it is an infringement of copyright. It says about bar on the basis of the Copyright Act. Section 9 is purely related to bar based on the Copyright Act. Section 24 is purely related to certain intelligence and security organizations established by the central government. These are listed under Schedule 2. Friends, please go through 26 intelligence and security organizations established by the central government of India. In my earlier PDF and video lecture, there are 25. Now, recently, Government of India has added one more intelligence and security organization for which the Right to Information Act not to apply, that is serial number 26, Strategic Forces Command. Strategic Forces Command is the 26th organization listed under Schedule 2 of the Act, for which the Right to Information Act is not applicable. Then friends, I don't want to focus on the other important aspects. These are the recent amendments made to Right to Information Act. This is the overall structure. Coming to the procedure for obtaining the information. Procedure. First, the person who requires any information can file an application under Section 6 of Right to Information Act. If it is a state government related organization, he need to file an application before the state public information officer of the concerned department, along with the sufficient fee. The persons below the poverty line are completely exempted from the cost of the information as well as the application fee for Right to Information Act. Others shall pay the entire amount, 10 rupees for application fee, and the other expenses based on the cost incurred for obtaining the information. If the applicant is dissatisfied with the information provided by the public information officer, he can go for the superior officer who is immediately high in rank to the public information officer. He is treated as the first appellate authority in the eyes of Right to Information Act 2005. He can challenge the same. Still he is dissatisfied with the decision, he may go to the second appellate authority within 90 days. At the first appeal, the limitation is the prescribed limitation is 30 days, and for the second appeal, the limitation time is 90 days. This is the procedure, friends. There are certain penalties. Right to Information Act 2005 also imposes the penalty on public information officers who refuse to receive an application for the information and who has not furnished the information within the specified time, and who malifiedly who denied the information with ill intention, who knowingly given the incorrect, incomplete and misleading information, and who destroys the information, and who obstructs the applicant to obtain the information by any manner. Under these circumstances, the penalty may be imposed on the public information officers. The penalty amount is 250 rupees for each day for the delay, but not exceeding 25,000 rupees. Friends, now I would like to. Hello.
Yes,
Sir,
yes, please continue, sir.
am I audible to you all?
Yes, yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Now I would like to expect some questions from the student side.
Yeah,
Remaining half of today's session will
yeah.
be purely related to the interactive session.
Okay, sir. Because still we do have at least 15 minutes in your hand.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any student would like to ask any question, please unmute yourself and you can ask. Only one can unmute and ask. Who come first, he will be given chance. Unmute and ask any question if you have it. Anyone? I did not get any person would be going to ask. So shall I ask?
Okay, let me continue, sir. Let me continue.
Yeah. One
Sir,
person
sir.
is yes. One person is
Right information.
yes. One person is asking.
Yes, sir. Please.
Sir, you said that we cannot challenge if the information is not given in either civil or criminal court. Then there
Yes.
ends the matter, sir. If it is not permitted.
Civil courts cannot enter into the right to, cannot enter into the boundary of Right to Information Act 2005. If there is a conflict in between the applicant and public information officer, that dispute should be settled by a separate authority established under Right to Information Act. The first appellate authority, the second appellate authority, the State Information Commission, the Central Information Commission, finally the constitutional courts.
What
The
is
civil
meant?
courts, the regular civil courts, the regular criminal courts cannot interfere the matters related to the Right to Information Act 2005.
Sir, what are those constitutional courts? Please explain, sir.
The courts which are established by the Constitution of India, simply all high courts and Supreme Court are the constitutional courts.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other person would like to ask question? Please say your name and then ask the question.
Hello,
Please, yes. Please say your name.
Nageswara.
Yes, please ask.
Sorry.
Can a citizen question the PIO for information perfectly?
Yes, sir. You can question. You can question by filing an application under Section 6 of Right to Information Act. The basic essence of the act of the basic essence of Right to Information Act is to promote the transparency and accountability. You can question any PIO, but the question, your question should not be exempted from the Right to Information Act. It should not fall under Section 8, 9, or 24 of Right to Information Act. You can ask any other information. You can question by way of a Right to Information Act application. Here, the right to information includes not only right to get some certified copies or Xerox copies. It includes right to inspect certain material, right to inspect a record, right to extract some material, right to inspect some work which is going on. It has broad perspective.
Yes, I think you have given any other person, please say your name and you can ask the question.
Sir, one supplementary
Sir.
question.
Yeah, please continue.
Some departmental PIOs are asking that no provision for questioning. You have to request only their opinion that PI was concerned.
Yes, I would like to know about what does a question mean according to you?
Question mark.
Question mark. Yes, there is. Yes, you are absolutely right. There is a judgment by the Central Information Commission that one should not ask the information by way of a question: when, what, how, where, which. You can ask the same information in another way, without using the words WH words, what, which, why, how, etc. You can ask the same information by any other way.
Yes, any other question, whether any other participants, students of the final year or second year or first year, doesn't matter. Please unmute and say your name, then ask your question.
Sir, this is Nageshwara, sir. Second year,
Sir.
fourth semester student, sir.
Please
So,
proceed.
is there the specific time limit is for getting information 30 days, sir? More than any other time, sir?
Yes, the specific time prescribed under right to information is 30 days. If the information is related to other department, then in addition to 30 days, they can use 15 more days in order to obtain from the other department. Under those circumstances, 45 days is the prescribed time to get the information. Simply,
Thank you,
the
sir.
information is related to a third department, another department.
Okay, sir.
If any other person would like to ask any question, please unmute yourself, then say your name and ask.
Yeah, myself Naresh, sir. So
Yes.
sometimes we need the information in a, faster way, like if it is related to liability kind of thing. So we need information in a quick way. It is not something 30 days is not good time to get the liability or some life issues. So how can
Yes,
we get
yes.
the information in a faster way?
There is a special provision if the information is related to personal life and liberty, then the public information officer should provide the information within 48 hours. It is expressly enumerated under Right to Information Act.
Yes, sir. You are giving the answer. Any other people that student want to ask the question, please unmute yourself, say your name, then ask your key speaker, Subhan Bande. Yes, anyone?
Excuse me, sir, I am Sharad Babu, final sem. Sir, what about the remedy, sir? We cannot seek any remedy from this right to information. We must go to courts only for getting remedies.
The State Information Commission and the Central Information Commission are the competent authorities if you want to get the remedy by way of penalty on the public information officers. The regular civil and criminal courts cannot entertain these matters. As I said earlier, you can file a complaint. Complaint is entirely different from appeal. If you are dissatisfied with the information, if you don't want to get the same information, then you can file a complaint on the public information officer. Then the State Information Commission or Central Information Commission will look after the same and they will impose the same. You will get the appropriate remedy.
Yes, any other question that the students would like to ask? Still, we have the 5 minutes in your hand.
Sir, generally, the citizens who requires the information, ask the information as on the date of application only. So,
Yes,
it is already available with the PIO concerned. But why
Yes.
the 30 days is needed for reply?
There is a lot of procedure involved in the government offices, Mr. Nageswara Garu. There is
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of procedure involved in the government departments. The Civil Procedure Code, which is the mother for all the cases related to property, matrimonial, arbitration, etc., are following the Code of Civil Procedure. The Civil Procedure itself prescribes a mandatory notice for the government. You cannot get an injunction from the government, against the government in a civil court. The reason behind this one is the government departments have a lot of procedures. They have to inspect the record. One has to make the copy, another has to attest it, another one has to compare it. Finally, it comes from the head of the department of such government department. Hence, it takes some time for sending the application from the applicant to the concerned PIO takes some time. The postal department takes some time. The courier services take some time for obtaining the copy, for making the certified copies, for dispatching the same, again it reaches to the applicant through the post or courier service. Hence, the 30 days is the time prescribed under Right to Information Act 2005.
Yes, any other questions from anybody?
Sir,
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
information obtained
Good evening,
through
good evening.
RTI.
Yeah, just a
Sir,
minute.
good evening, sir.
Yeah, just a minute. Nageshwar Rao sir, you are over because you are asked several questions. Please give the chance to other people. Yes, now you can ask.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good
This
evening.
is
Say your
Lugendra
name.
Pillai, sir. Lugendra Pillai, sir.
Please give
Some people
ask the question.
okay, some people misusing this act to blackmail others and all. How to protect,
Yes.
sir, from people?
It is one of the major challenges related to Right to Information Act 2005. The
Yes, sir.
government of India want to make certain amendments to this act in order to curtail such practices, blackmailing others, asking voluminous information unnecessarily without any reasonable cause. However, a few may misuse the same, but majority of the poor people utilize this as a weapon to obtain the information. Before the enactment of Right to Information Act, if a person wants to get the information, he must go to the office of an advocate. He must file a wakalat before him. After holding the wakalat, the advocate gives a notice to the appropriate department. Then he gets the information. It incurs more expenses to the poor and needy people. Now, the government of India enacted this act, which a broad perspective of promoting the transparency. Promoting the transparency. This is a broad objective. By considering one or two cases, we cannot say that Right to Information Act is misused by majority of the people.
Yes, last question.
Okay.
Anyone, last question. Please ask last question, anyone.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Sir, I would like to quote. Okay, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Sir, third
Good
party,
evening.
what about the third party information of the section 11, sir? How many, so sir, how many days, sir? That one.
Eక్కడండి?
Sir, third party, section 11, sir, third party information.
అవును. Yes, please.
How many days, sir? It will come on how many days, sir? Third party information.
Third party information. Hello?
Yes, please, sir. Please say immediately, sir. Because I want to play the Janagana Mana.
Third party information, if any person want to get the third party information, the public information officer cannot deny the information on the basis that this information is related to third party. If the information is, even though the information is related to a third party, but it is not related to his personal information, then he need to provide the same to the applicant. Sir,
Okay.
sir,
Yes, sir. With this, I would like to say thanks because the time is over. The time is going to be over, and please mute it, your things. I am very much thankful to the